Hello there, everybody. This is Devin here with the Rogue Deck Chronicle podcast. And this week, I wanted to showcase a deck that made Day 2 of the World Championships that I thought was very interesting, that I don't think is getting enough attention, which is the Blissey EX Munkidori wall damage flipping deck. It was piloted by Fernando Cifuentes, who is one of the best players in the world. So I'm sure there's a lot of potential in this deck. He made Day 2 with it, and honestly, I wanted to play it on the ladder. I wanted to showcase with you guys to see if, honestly, someone of not that caliber can have success with it on the ladder and in local leagues. So this deck does revolve around Blissey EX with the Happy Switch ability and the return attack. So Happy Switch allows you to move one basic energy from one Pokemon to another, and then return does 180 for 3 energy, and then you get to draw until you have 6 cards in hand. So you do damage, you draw cards, you move energy around, it's all fun. So what really makes this deck work is that Blissey does have a bunch of HP for stage 1, and Munkidori, with the Darkness Energy that we run in the deck, will give it more lasting power. So we run 4 Munkidori in this deck, we run 4 Chansey, 4 Blissey, and then 2 of the Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon EX. This is purely as a wall against the ability only decks, where we can just power it up and poke, and then not take any damage. So it's really fun. We have the Munkidori to move damage counters from our side to the opponent's side. We have Blissey to move energy around. We have the Cornerstone Mask here to just wall extra. So it's going to be a really fun deck. In terms of the trainers, how do we get everything set up? Well, first and foremost, our ace spec is Precious Trolley. We want to try to get our board full and established as quick as possible with our high HP basic non-EX Pokemon. That way we can just get everything together. We have 2 Rigid Bands to make our Blissey even more tanky, where they take 30 less damage every single turn. And then we will keep our energy in play with Experience Share. We will get our energy out quickly with TM Turbo Energize. And then we will be just a little more tanky with this Picnic Basket. So we want to heal 30 from each Pokemon. So what we would want to do is try to time that where we would heal off just a little bit and then not affect our damage. This is really if we don't have enough Munkidori set up, we can heal our Blissey a little bit more in order for them to survive the next turn. And then we have 4 Ultra Ball. We have 2 Nest Ball along with the Precious Trolley to really set up everything. In terms of supporters, we have 4 Arven. We do run a lot of tool cards, so Arven is going to be fantastic. We run 3 Iono for some mid to late game disruption. Like I said, Blissey allows us to refill our hand up to 6 after it attacks, so it's really more of a disruption than a draw. Professor's Research, we do run 2 of. This is your early game draw, where we want to be aggressive, we want to get what we need. And then this deck runs a very heavy 4 count of Boss's Orders. That way we can bring what we want up to the active. Say we want to put something in active that kind of let it sit there. We can also then start pushing damage counters back onto our opponent's side. And then we run 7 Darkness and 2 Fighting for the energy build. Really, the Darkness is for that Munkidori synergy, and the 2 Fighting is for the Cornerstone Mask, that we do actually want to make that a attacker in some circumstances. So we really do want to be able to make all our Pokemon live any point of the game. So as always, the deck list will be in the description of the video, and let's jump onto the ladder and see how we do. We know it's a good deck, but we'll see how we do with this World Championship deck. Alrighty, time for us to start our match here. We are going second, so I'm going to lead with the Chansey and then put the Ogerpon on the bench just as a safeguard here. I never, even with the high HP Chanseys, I always like to have a second Pokemon on the bench just in case. So we are running against a Dragapult list here. So it's one of those situations where this is going to be, it's a very popular deck, just got runner-up in the World Championships. So I want to see how this deck does against one of the top contenders in the meta. So we're going to put the Munkidori into play here. We're going to Arven. So what I want to do is grab a Turbo Energize to get some energy into play here. And then I also want to grab Earthen Vessel. I want to get energy into play this turn. That way we can put energy on the Munkidori. We can just try to get some pieces up and running. So we'll just discard one of the Night Stretchers here. We'll grab 2 different energies. We'll put one of the Fighting Energies onto the Chansey here. And then we'll Turbo Energize. So we'll put there and there. And then next turn, we have the Blissey with the Rigid Band. We have an energy in hand. We can move one of the energy over. And we can start really putting pressure onto our opponent here. So let's see what we get from our opponent. Do we get Iono? Do they let us keep our 4-card hand? So they are doing Draculux. They're going a little slower in terms of their setup. They're not going the Rare Candy build or Rare Candy route. They probably have Rare Candy in deck, but they're not going that route right now. At least not with the active. So let's see what they do. They play an Arven, so our hand is safe for now. So I would not be surprised if we saw a Rare Candy. Nope, Buddy Buddy and the Evo. So they're going to go a little slower. They're going to set up their board. So where we next turn can do the same thing. So this is the Charizard Dragapult list. So probably not going to see any Dusknoir. We're not going to see any of the Pidgeot shenanigans. We're just going to see this. And all the energy going onto this Draculog makes me feel really confident on the route we decided to go Draculog here. Okay, so 2 Draculogs. We're going to see a Dragapult next turn, but we're going to make sure that they have like they have no energy. Like that's going to be our goal, is try to get them down to rebuild slowly, and we will hold boss's orders for later. So we're going to evolve. We're going to put the Rigid Band on to take less damage. We are going to Happy Switch. 1 Fighting Energy onto here. I really want to get this Draculog gone. And then we are going to attack, get the prize, get our hand refilled. We're going to take less damage. Yes, we want to draw. We want to get 4 more cards. Munkidori, another Chansey. We can start setting up pieces here. And now our opponent has no energy. Our opponent does have 2 Draculogs, so there is a play that we would see Dragapult doing some damage, but not enough to really scare us. We have the Darkness Energy, we have Munkidori, so we can push 60 back on his end. There's a Pheasant Dippy. He's going to see more cards. But honestly, I think we're in a good aggressive spot. We are subject to a couple pieces that may be a little concerning. But okay, our hand is good. We're not going to be seeing the Bidoof. We can start dropping down more kind of support pieces here, and really the damage that we're going to be seeing is just going to be pushed right back. So we'll see if we see the Dragapult. We'll see if we get any damage our way, because we could just take damage, boss up the Fez, take this little draw support and take 2 prizes, or we can just really put a lot of really intense pressure onto this Dragapult, because the Dragapult's going to have to attack us twice. And if we can just get that damage down, just reduced a little bit, then we'll be fine. Team Rocket Watchtower is turning off our Happy Switch. We're not really utilizing it right now. And there's the Unfair Stamp. So there goes our hand. We get 2 cards. One of them is Iono, so we get to refill our hand after that. So not the worst thing in the world. Trying to see a world where we see Phantom Dive this turn, but I don't see it. Okay. So we're not going to see any damage. They're going to force us to just hit into the Pheasantipity, which I'm okay with. Just putting 180 onto that Pheasantipity is not a awful thing in my book. I'm going to Iono ourselves back up to 5, see if we can get some more options. So I'm going to put a Chansey into play. I'm going to put Energy. I'm going to put Energy on Chansey. Chansey does have the heavier retreat cost, but we're not going to see much of a Munkidori situation. We're going to draw up to 6. We have 2 Picnic Baskets, which is okay if we just get into a spot where we can't move energy around or damage around. Because we could heal off damage on that Fez and then just knock it out and just take it off their side of the board potentially. The Picnic Basket also could just move damage around. So we'll see what we do. We're in a good spot. This Blissey's just going to sit there and just take damage for a turn. I would love to be able to put a second Munkidori into play. That Iono was really, really well timed by our opponent. So it's a situation where are we going to see them try to get another Drag Ball? A Charizard. Okay, so they have a Rare Candy Charizard more likely in hand. So that Charizard's going to come out and do a lot of intense pressure. If we could get Munkidori into play and get this stadium out, which we have our own stadium, we have Town Store, we could easily just start pushing pressure back onto our opponent. With the way our opponent kind of set up their board, we're going to have to take 3 more KOs. But if they put any damage onto us, we just push 3 of it back up and just take that Pheasantipity out. So we don't actually have to waste an attacking turn taking out the Pheasant, taking 2 prizes, and slowing them down, getting rid of that Flip the Script. So very interesting to see what we would see. So we're just going to see a pass. So here is a way to get a Munkidori. So that's another one that we're going to put into play. I'm going to evolve up to Chansey to have a secondary attacker just in case. And then I'm going to boss that Charmander. And I'm going to take out that Charizard route that he put into his hand last turn. And then we're going to draw 2 cards. Pokégear, great. Put us back on an even prizes here. That Pheasantipity is just going to sit there. If anytime we get damage, because I don't really see much how many plays, especially since we just took out that Charmander this turn, to where our opponent can really just disrupt multiple Munkidori, disrupt a multiple Chansey. This Watchtower has kind of slowed us down just enough to where we really can't pop off. But with that being said, that Fez having 180, I'm going to let that sit there until he does enough just to pop 30 on our side. And then really forcing him to lean into this Dragapult this turn. So we really put our opponent into a situation where them just stalling out that one turn and us having a really good turn 2 has put us into a very much a driver's seat situation. So I'm interested to see what our opponent is thinking. They might not just have any options, we don't know. But they are giving us the Dracolock, so that's fine. I would much more prefer to try to go through the 2 prizers because we are on an even prize trade. But we'll see what they do. See what the cards are. We know there's a Charizard in hand. That's why we targeted that Charmander. I didn't want to see a Charizard. I'd rather just take out the Charmander and kind of put them behind a turn. So looks like, unfortunately, I think our opponent just stopped playing. I think we put them into a situation where we just got set up very quickly. We got into a spot where they're having to hit into a very beefy, very tanky Blissey. And yeah, inactivity, they just walked away from the match. So it was a good game to show how quickly this deck can set up and activate pressure. I really wish we could have seen a little bit more with the deck, but it's a really good game one to get us kind of integrated into the deck, to get us comfortable with the deck, and we'll see how we go in another match. Alright, so we are going second. So we're going to lead with Chansey. We have a Nest Ball, we have an Arven, we have pieces for a really fun deck. And we're seeing knocked out Glass Trumpet. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup here. Got the Turbo Energize as well. So Eevee, so Flareon knocked out probably. Alrighty. Attach pass, awesome. So let's get this up and running here. So let's put something onto the bench minimum. Let's put the Chansey. We don't have an energy. That's the most concerning part of this setup, is I don't have it. Because I can go wide. And I can get a whole bunch of like Munkidoris and stuff set up. And then next turn, really start putting pressure on. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do, is next turn, put a little more pressure on. I'm going to keep this space open for like a flexibility play. I'm just going to attach this balloon and pass to where next turn we can just switch into the other Chansey, Turbo Energize, maybe evolve. Like, we have options. Seeing a Glass Trumpet hit the discard already. Yep, there's the Flareon. Flareon does 130, so just enough to KO a Chansey. So we really do need to get into Blissey fairly quickly. We have a Blissey in hand here. Alright, not the worst situation here. I'm going to be curious of what the Burning Charge does in terms of energy. Because we have the boss. And Angelite is definitely on play here. So what I will want to do is we're going to evolve so we can survive Flareon. I'm in a very interesting situation in terms of how I feel like what we need to do. Well, Arven. Rigid Belt. Nest Ball. We'll take a little less damage here. We'll Nest Ball a Chansey onto the bench. And then we'll end turn for now. If they have a Psychic Energy or a way to turn that into a Psychic Energy, I'm a little concerned. Because then we're going to see, was it 2 Pokemon? Yeah, we're going to see 2 Munkidoris go into the deck, or a Munkidori and a Chansey go into the deck. Okay. I'm curious to see what our opponent's going to set up here. Because we could happy switch on to a Munkidori, but we can push a little bit of energy this turn. Putting it onto that EV. Okay. Okay. So let's push damage counters around here. I'm actually not against really putting pressure onto this EV here. We're just gonna research. Might as well get a happy switch in and knock out that Eevee. But before we do that, get a fresh set here. Put a Rigid Band there. Let's Adrenabrain. Get rid of that Eevee with a whole bunch of energy. I'm still keeping an eye onto that Sylveon. Like, that Sylveon is still a concern to me. But I think we're going to end turn here. We got 3 energy and an EV off their board. We have 2 Blissey ups, so we can start moving moving 1 energy around so many times just to move damage off our side. Now, we do have to address this Flareon in the act. Eventually. So let's see what we have to do here. There's the crystal. So here comes a flare. The Sylveon's gonna go bye-bye. Cornerstone. That Cornerstone is gonna be a problem. Unless we get our situation set up better than theirs. So, Crystal onto the Cornerstone. We can't get any cards from the discard pile anymore, which is fine. We really don't live out a discard pile in this deck, so I'm not too worried. Okay. And he just concedes. So he saw that we were just going to be pushing damage back. So, not the worst set matchup. Like, we weren't really addressing the Flareon, but the Flareon really wasn't helping himself either. So let's jump into another match to see how we do. Time to jump into another match here. And we are leading with a double Munkidori. We have the trolley. And we are going to be going second. So we should be able to have a pretty explosive turn one. But we do see our opponent leading with a Badoo, which means we have to make sure we get our items quickly. And let's take advantage of that then. I think this deck can definitely do so. Let's see what our opponent does. He just passes, which is pretty standard for decks like that, where they just use the Badoo and pass. I'm gonna fill the board up. Chansey, Munkidori. I think 3 Munkidori is plenty. Let's put a Rigid Band onto that Chansey. Let's Pokégear. Or an Arven here. We're just getting everything we need to pretty much set up. We'll get a Turbo Energize. And another Pokégear. We'll Pokégear for research for next turn. Let's attach the energy. Let's energize. And let's get our bench set up here. Alright, so I want to attach one to a Munkidori and one to a Chansey here. There we go. I feel that's a very good turn one. Very, very good turn one. Because if he does try to put damage on us, we can just push any little bit of damage back. If we can research into a Blissey and kind of get some pieces set up. And kind of make next turn a little bit, not as, I would say explosive, yes, but not like, that was really good. That was a beautiful turn, I think. We're getting ready. Fighting Energy. Haven't really seen what you're trying to set up yet. Baby Blood Moon or Lumina. Okay. Does more damage for every damage counter on it. Okay, okay. So he's gonna try to knock out the Munkidori. Nope. He's not. He knows he's just shy. Okay. So I don't want to get rid of all that energy. Just one of it. So let's see what we get off here. Ooh, we hit the jackpot, I believe. It was a Adrenaline. Damage onto the Badoo. Just get it out of the way. Let's retreat into that Blissey. Let's happy switch there. Let's take the early prize. Let's take that early pressure and see what our opponent is gonna do. We have a whole bunch of pieces this turn. I'm gonna take another prize. We have another Darkness Energy. So we can happy switch that Darkness Energy around a couple times. So we can one-shot with the Blissey, and with the healing, it's a very interesting combination versus this Blood Moon. Because if Blood Moon wants damage on us, so he's gonna do 200 to us. going to put up the Blissey without all the buffs and stuff on it, which is fine. We can definitely take advantage of this, because we can just knock it out. So we're just going to get rid of a couple pieces here. Grab another happy switch. We're going to attach, and what we're going to do is I'm going to get rid of 3 first. And then we're just going to happy switch onto the Blood Moon here. And our opponent sees what we're doing. So kudos to our opponent for allowing us to do this turn and getting everything we need. And then knocking out that Blood Moon and getting the KO. Just go through the animations here. It's one thing I don't like about the game sometimes. Like, the game's over. We don't need to do some of these secondary things. So there is a very explosive turn 1 that really put our opponent behind, even with weakness against that baby Blood Moon Ursaluna. Okay guys, so that is the Blissey EX deck piloted by Fernando Cifuentes in the World Championships that made Day 2. As you can see with the matches we did today, it has a really good potential of being explosive, turn 1, turn 2. It can just bounce back a whole bunch of damage onto the opponent. It can heal, it can deal damage, it can recycle your hand. It has a lot of really good abilities and capabilities versus a lot of the meta and a lot of the non-meta of the format and of the decks that we're seeing. Now, usually at the end of the videos I would say, what would I do? I would take this to a cup very easily. I don't know if I would take it to a regional yet. I'm not comfortable enough with it, but I would make this deck, bring it to a Elite Cup very easily and have a lot of fun and do probably pretty well with it. So it is definitely up there. As we saw, it has a Day 2 Worlds. It is very much a regional level, regional strength deck for sure, and we were able to see why today. But thank you everyone who's made it this far into the video. If you have, please give the video a like. If you haven't, also subscribe to the channel. We love to see those individuals that love our content, but we also want to see what would you do with this League Cup season right before the new set coming out. What deck are you leaning to for the first, say, the next month or so, while everyone's kind of getting ready for the mega set that's coming out in the TCG? Love to hear those and see those in the comments. But as always guys, thank you very much, and as always, have fun playing those sneaky decks.